All right, man. Good morning. We got an opportunity to get the interior cleaned out yesterday. As you notice, we've got a lot that needs to be addressed. It's a little more orange than what you want to see. Looks like it's pretty much all surface. So that's going to be fine. Like I was saying, I'm going to coat that with POR. We pulled everything out of here, all of our back panels, mainly because we were working on installing the torque box reinforcements. So I mean, they actually went in pretty easy. That side over there, the back's kind of lifted up, so I think I might try to run a self tapper down through them to try to hold them down. Not a super fan, but I guess if they do what they're supposed to do, we'll be good to go. So anyway, we're at the point where I got to put this other exhaust hanger back in because I pulled them down because I sprayed in there, so they need tightened up. Now, I did take anti-seize. I put it on the back of this plate, being it's between two pieces of metal so that no rust forms. And then where these bolts go through, there's a space, so I coated that part. And then it has Loctite on the top. And then the same with these. Even though I got in there and I painted those holes, I still put anti-seize on the bottom of these bolts on both sides. Long term, just trying to think, man, you know, even though there's still some of this, it could come back. You know, that's kind of what happens with rust. So today we're going to get all of our control arms installed. I mean, we are chipping away at our pile a little bit at a time. We're going to get our control arms installed. With any and all hopes, we'll get this rear differential assembled. We did clean out it some, so I'm going to clean up this mess around here. So we'll get the rest of that cleaned up, get that mess going, and get the bushings out, get our diff cover on, get it sealed. Like I said, I got the special stuff for that. Filled up, you know what I mean? It's going to be ready to go. We got to get it painted so it's looking pretty, so it's not rusty, and get it installed. And then I think we're going to work on getting some stuff here on the floor. Get everything out of here. Just, I'll probably even pull that rear deck cover out because I have one of those to replace. I'm going to pull out the old rear speakers. I think I'm just going to like give this a good dust, wipe everything down. I might even pull these seat brackets out here and get a little bit of paint on them because they're looking kind of rough. And just, yeah, I guess if I could find a stock coupe back seat, I'd probably go back that route. So I might start looking for one of those. I still have to order the rear seat belts. We still have to order a carpet. That's next on the list. But it's just the little things we got to get, you know, like I said, I'm pulling everything out of here that I put in here from years before. I got to get that harness there straightened out a little bit. I do plan to put a radio in this thing. Not sure exactly what. Still waiting to try to figure out who I'm going to get to do a windshield. That seems to be quite a challenge here lately. So that's on. Try to update some stuff. We need to get this coated today. So as always, I mean, this is just for me to kind of be able to go back and see what I've done. If anybody has any questions on how I did any of this stuff, I can always make a little separate video on each item if I need to, certain things, or go over some stuff or answer questions. But like I said, a lot of it's for me, so I know, so I can go back and I can see what I did. If anyone down the road ever ends up with this car later, there's history of it, okay? So they can see what's going on with the car, what was done to the car on this build this time. So with that being said, I'm getting this rear diff in. Clutch packs are in, differential sealed. I did put traction lock assist and about a quart of fluid into this. So being it's set and level, I'll probably check my fluid, but good old muff. I'm getting ready to unbox my polyurethane bushings that I've had for ever. we're gonna get these installed. All right, so what you have to do for this is basically you drill out the old ones. All right, so this is just gonna get this put on here, and I'm gonna whack it with a hammer. Same on the other side, and then this one's gonna go over top of the inside here like that, and then we'll just run our collar down through the middle with a bunch of grease there. Usually I put a little bit of grease on the outside of this to help assist it with going in. So I want to get that done. We're going to spice this up a little bit. It's going to have a little red in the back. And it's the next day. Everything's kind of dried up here. So I just figured I'd highlight this moment. You can see it's a little bit of summer. We got a bee going on. So we are now at the point of getting this lifted in. I kind of just like slid it back underneath really gently, and I'm working it up on blocks of wood. Once I do that, I can get it high enough where I can get this lifted up and maybe get a jack under here. I still have to get this bolt the rest of the way through. When you have polyurethane bushings in these or Hymens, there's nothing enjoyable about getting these things together. It's a fight to see who wins. So today we're actually waiting for the backing plates to come in. That way I'm going to get everything assembled. I'm going to have to maybe change some stuff here and drill some holes in these plates to mount the brake hoses. Okay, and then my stainless steel lines that run across, they're for a 93 Cobra. So I really hoped that they were going to bolt in. There was no way to get like stuff broke up in a set because this is technically a 95 rear brake setup. So it would have been the same metal lines, but I have them, so I might have to change some stuff and flare some ends. We're just going to have to wait and see. But I don't know if anyone else ever had issues with these or if it was just me not getting stuff cleaned, but I locked these down yesterday and it sat here all night. Now this is filled up to here, so it's getting a little bit of seepage. All right, and I tilted it forward, cleaned everything up, and I coated the stuff with some of the correct silicone. It still needs to dry yet, but hopefully that keeps us from getting a leak back here and making this thing look bad. So I'm gonna get this side here in, hopefully without too many issues. Maybe muff will help, and we can get this thing in. So the way I've always done this is get your suspension in, get everything installed, and then go back over and make the car weight actually hang, you know, support this, and then tighten up all of your control arm bolts. All right, now we still need to do these lowers, which can be done after everything else is done. I'll have to let this down, then jack this up and support it with jack stands without the quick jack, okay, because that's going to be in the way. But like I said, we got everything done now. We're getting ready to install the Bilstein shocks. I don't know, there's very many different languages. So give you a fancy sticker. Here's the shock. We're just going to reuse our lower bolt, which we have. We're going to put anti-seize on that, just like we did everything else down here. That's a 15 and an 18. This is the shock rubbers and stuff that they give you here now. And they give you a nice little lock nut, which is a 17. So I was looking at this and I'm like, is this supposed to be kept on here? Because I'm just not quite sure. I don't think it's going to hurt anything, but we'll let it on there. Just like that. Alright, I'm going to get both of these installed and see where I end up next. Like I said, I'm still waiting on these. I might end up having to pull these out of the way. It's probably not a good idea to actually install these, but I really am curious to see what they look like. All right, so we have everything completed on the rear suspension right now. Man, does that rubber look pretty good. So, I just fitted up my old quad shock. I'm still gonna run them. These wheels are clearing that. It's just kind of touching this a little bit, but it's not where it needs to be, which is over here. So we got plenty of room there, but on this here, I actually had to customize these a little bit, and then I drilled the brackets in here for the actual lines on the outer edges. So everything's together on the rear suspension. You can kind of see some of the spots I missed with paint, but that doesn't matter. Let's see what this thing looks like with these wheels on. There we go, man. Look at that. Drop down on the edge. Just right at the wheel lip. This side here, I think, always did stick out a little farther. It's hard to tell, but I'm going to throw the two front on. Problem is, we had an issue with this 1SRT4 with the turbo. So I got this thing to the point where I can actually roll it out, and unfortunately, we're just pushing this thing back. I'm gonna throw the other wheels on because I really want to see what this thing looks like sitting on these new wheels and tires. I've had them just a little too long. We'll get it pushed outside. I'll give it a walk around, get you guys to see what it looks like, and that's where I'm gonna end this one. And I'll show you what we find on this SRT4. Nothing good, I can say that. But it has to do with the aftermarket manifold. All right, well, as you can tell, it's dark. And it's been a long day, but this Mustang's back inside. We were able to accomplish what we needed to do on the SRT4. We've come to the conclusion that it's the aftermarket manifold was bad. So we swapped that out, put a stock one on. And now that this is back in here, we can actually work on getting this thing together. So one of the first things we're going to probably start with tomorrow will be getting the fuel system installed, along with getting, let me think, getting all of the brakes bled out so that we have a fully functioning brake system. And then maybe even getting to the point where once that stuff is taken care of and we have all of that run, we can actually drop this engine down into this engine bay and start getting stuff bolted to it, along with everything else that needs to be done. Like I said, there's a couple small things. I gotta do that wiring harness down there and get some other things in here figured out. Like I said, we still got to do this. I got to get this coated. Should have had this coated today. But with that, let's end this video. The Mustang is on its way to being done.